Here we go. All right, we're starting 2024 off on a clean slate. In doing so, we're welcoming back two good friends of mine, Cary Parsons and Stephen Miller of Dark Remedy. Welcome back, guys.
Boom. What's up, Jake? We are dude, we had such a great chat with you last time. We were really looking forward to coming back. So glad we were able to make this happen.
And to give this some context, we were originally going to schedule this interview a while back, but it was postponed for some really good reasons. You guys actually signed a record deal. Let's get into that.
Yeah, we did. And it's funny how it all came together, but when it came together quick. We had plans on releasing We Are the Dead December 1st, and it had already been sent distro. We'd already started making a little bit of announcements, and then this deal started to materialize. So we held back on that and wanted to save We Are the Dead to be our first release under the new label.
That's awesome. And what's even more awesome, and what hits probably a personal note with both of you guys, is Imagine Records is led by Morgan Rose of Seven Dust. Like, what are the chances? Were you kind of impressed by how he handles things?
Well, yeah, and the funny thing is we've already sort of been dealing with Imagine indirectly since we started. One of our promo guys is the head of promotions at Imagine Records. So we've been working with him since day one, and so already having that familiarity with part of the team kind of made it make even more sense. But dude, it's fucking Morgan Rose. And we I think, what was it, like 2-3 weeks ago, they had the #1 song in America with Everything. Their new album's killer. I've always been a Seven Dust fan. I've always respected what they've done. They're one of those bands that they were at the top in the late 90s, and they've stayed at the top ever since. And not many bands can say that, and I don't really think they've had any lineup changes or anything like that, but they've just been super consistent and able to really function at a high level. And that's something that Steven and I have just a tremendous amount of respect. So, we feel like there's no better place for us than with somebody like that can teach us and guide us in the right path and hopefully help us avoid some of the pitfalls.
And for some perspective, Seven Dust, for all they went through, it was like a whole hell of a lot. Like, debt, destruction of every kind, like internal and external, but they recovered and they've gone on strong. And I know both of you guys have seen the depths of hell, but have risen up yourselves too.
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, perseverance. I mean, that's what this business is all about. People fade out quick, people come and go. Dark Remedy, we plan on, that's here to stay. So it's very important for us to be associated with like-minded individuals.
Let's go back a bit to your last single, Possession. How was the ride that went on? What did you take away from releasing that song?
Possession was incredible. I think artistically, both visually and musically, we really pushed our sound forward with that. And we took some chances in that song that we hadn't really done before, and it was well received. The response to that song was probably the greatest out of everything we've done so far. And I think what people are seeing is it's an evolution. You know, Steven and I, we spend a whole lot of time analyzing everything, picking apart everything that we do. All right, is this working? Can we do something better over here? You know, and we're growing and we're evolving, and we're just so grateful and humble that everybody gets to be a part of that process with us.
Hmm. And Steven, you actually got the band on TikTok. How does it feel to kind of join that whole craziness?
Uh, TikTok is the wild, wild west of the internet. I feel like all the people that remember early 2000s internet, it was just wild and crazy. And TikTok has found a way to capture that spirit. I think you never know what's going to trend next and what the new thing is that people are going to be doing on there. That's pretty crazy and insane. So it's where all the young people are at, and we're in our 30s, and so we're trying to um, hold our own with them. But TikTok has been really interesting. We've gotten the most response on our TikTok than some of our other social media. So if you guys want to see some hilarious stuff and some interesting stuff, you can go find us on our TikTok. Um, but Cary runs a lot of the social media, and he can probably have more to say about like if any of the bands out there want to pick our brains about how to run social media, he's kind of the guy.
All right, take it away,
But
Gary.
we've had a lot of fun messing around with TikTok and doing some crazy stuff. So you can find our shenanigans there for sure.
Yeah, Carrie, how have you managed that?
Did not well. I mean, it's a learning process, and you know, it's weird for Steven and I because we both have the same mindset of we don't like to really be out there running our mouths a lot. We don't like to, you know, we're kind of mysterious in the sense that we kind of lay back in the shadows and we just do our thing, and then bam, we bring it to you. That's how we'd always operated prior to last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're both very private individuals.
Yeah.
So this band's been getting us out of our comfort zone for sure.
Yeah, so, like, learning all the new trends and stuff, it's different for us when you take the 2 quiet guys in the dark over there and you throw them. You know, for us, doing, like, a music video is one thing. That's just like, you know, we've done numerous music videos for many, many years. We're used to that, but, you know, holding the phone in your hand and thinking of something that's, like, trendy
What's
or whatever.
up, guys? You know, like,
Yeah, and tying that back into possession, I mean, the point of that song obviously was being reluctant to what new things technology can bring. I mean, technology is a double-edged sword. You can use it for good and it can control you too. So I'm very social media averse, just because of my own personal philosophies about it. So it's being in a band where you have to focus on that stuff. It's kind of hard balancing the two, like your personal convictions about like social media and algorithms, and on the other hand, you have to use this to promote yourself. And so finding the balance, I'm sure a lot of artists can relate to that.
yeah, and it really is something that I bet, like, at the very least has landed you in a good place. And
We're also
speaking,
a little bit different in where we gravitate to on social media. You'll notice our Facebook, I think we're sitting at something like almost 23,000 followers on Facebook, but then if you go look at our Instagram, it's got like 380. And we're just, you know, it's a constant learning thing. You know, we got the Facebook thing down pretty good. And you know, the Instagram is one that we still yet to figure it out how to really maximize that thing. We've seen a lot of traction recently on TikTok as well too, but Instagram is a whole nother animal. We can't get our heads wrapped around it, I guess.
yeah, and it's cool. Like, I wanted to mention to Steven, for those of you watching who don't know, Stephen and I both have some degree of synesthesia, which is the working together of the senses, and that's apparent in the music videos that Dark Remedy produces, where they associate certain sounds with certain colors. And it's funny to get into that because when you posted the first ad for your new single, like I thought it was going to be green.
You thought right.
Like I just had this inkling based on the notes of like the opening notes of what I was hearing. I was like, this definitely sounds like a green kind of song.
Yeah, man. I think it's really cool. You're the only other person that interviews us and is like super spot on with how we choose the colors, and it's always fun to have someone else kind of pick up on that stuff. But yeah, that song to me is definitely like a green and somewhat of a purple, but definitely more in that kind of like spooky, slimy palette of things. So
Yeah. And
100%, man.
yeah, thanks, man. Going further into that for your new song, it has kind of like an Orwellian kind of thing. Talk more about how it developed thematically.
Yeah, so this song, we've actually been sitting on it for a couple years, and we're just waiting for the right moment to put this out. So this was actually the song that our manager Paul Crosby heard for the first time and decided that he wanted to work with us. So the song it's special for us in a lot of ways. It was, even though it's new to everyone else, it's kind of the song that has sort of started us on this roller coaster, meeting all these wonderful people that have been helping us along the way. So we're excited that everyone else gets to hear it too. And it's definitely more of like a heavy industrial kind of vibe. And so definitely there's definitely the Orwellian kind of themes in there of you know, with kind of to piggyback off of Possession, um, with how technology can be a double-edged sword. This is kind of another one of those things where, you know, technology, I mean, you're using it, but it's using you too. And you kind of have to be mindful of what you let it see and what you let it hear, because you don't know if it's going to use that information to help you in your day to day, or if it's going to hurt you in some way. You never know who's watching you when you have a tracking device on your person at any given moment.
Mm-hmm. And let's go back a bit to like one of the formative questions. I remember when I was kind of introducing Cary, he he elaborated that Mr. Sinister was inspired by a gamer tag, and I was wondering which song from a video game, soundtrack, what have you, do you still think about to this day that inspires you kind of directly or indirectly when you're writing?
Hmm. Well, there I could probably name a lot from years past, but most recently, the thing that has impressed me the most and really had an impact artistically on me, brand new game called Alan Wake 2. Uh the the soundtrack is incredible, and they do something that I haven't it's been done in other games, but not to this degree. They created a band for the game, and the band actually plays the music, and they incorporate live action and CGI like seamlessly. It's pretty incredible. Any gamers out there, check out Alan Wake 2 and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I was noticing because you have a career as a wrestler, Mr. Sinister, and I'd imagine like there's all these kind of new metal industrial like 1998 like thereabouts kind of music from like Warzone and Mayhem that I bet like was also kind of resonating too at some point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've actually I've made a couple wrestlers theme songs myself throughout the years, but you're talking about the wrestling stuff. This is going to be a big year for that. I'm coming
Yeah,
off
how's
in
it feel, man, to go back as Mr. Sinister?
feels great. I mean, I everything is behind closed doors right now. I'm training up. I got injured a little over a year ago, and so I got a lot of work ahead of me to get back out there, but in the next couple months there will be more on that for sure. This year we are planning a huge year for Dark Remedy, for Mr. Sinister. It's going to be a banner year for sure. We're
Hmm.
fired up.
And Stephen, this goes back to a while ago. You posted an interesting point of discussion. Um, you probably don't remember it, but I'll refresh you. It was about when you have a quartet, let's say, that's part of a modern band. Uh, two of the guys in this thread question, two of the guys are doing the songwriting and all the main stuff, while two other guys are just like hiding behind the brand of a band. But in contrast to that, you know, you see that unequal balance. But when it comes to your band, how do you think you're handling things as far as the writing and kind of refreshing that energy to become especially collaborative nowadays?
Um, so when you move up the totem pole from being like a standard local band, like just working with your friends, going into something more professional, um, it becomes incredibly team focused. Um, Very rarely does it stay. I mean, obviously, Cary and I for this specific band, we're the core of the writing and stuff, but you have to kind of be able to hand off to someone else that's going to either have extra ideas or take it to the next level. And so you're always moving forward and delegating and offloading work so you can focus on other things. And so um that's something you have to kind of be able to let go and put your stuff in other people's hands to get it to that next level. And so if you think about a movie, for instance, all the people that work on a film, like you get to the end credits and it's just you know you'll see 15 minutes of credits going by. A lot of your favorite albums are the same way. There's so many people that it passes hands through and they don't get credited, and that sucks, but that's just kind of the name of the game. Like, the if you want to be successful at a high level, you have to have a team that you can work with, so you're only putting out the best stuff. And so I would say to that question, um even though it may seem like there's just two people that do everything and then two people behind the scenes, that's not really the case. It just kind of depends on what question you're asking. Like, those two other people are there for a reason. They're providing some value, even if the fans might not be able to see it right away. They're there for a reason. And so I would say anyone that's involved with any band is there for a reason. And
They're held up to equal standards is what you're.
exactly, exactly. So they wouldn't be there if they weren't needed. You know what I'm saying? Everyone plays a role in this game we're in. So um if you look at someone like Sleep Token or Ghost, like, they're all
Yeah.
in maps. You don't know who any of them are, but they're all there because they provide something valuable, even if it's not obvious.
Yeah. And going back to your new material, now you're working with Jonathan Norris of Kingdom Collapse for your next few singles on production. What does he provide in terms of taking your material to the next level?
So that's actually like breaking news. Nobody knows that. That's the first time anybody's hearing that. But yeah, that's a big deal for us. Kingdom Collapse has just been on a tear these past few years. And Jonathan does a lot of the heavy lifting over there. I've always thought his mixes were incredible. His production was incredible. And like Steven said, to take it to the next level, we need to expand the team. So we've brought Jonathan in. We're working very closely with him on several singles right now, and we're just super stoked. We are very used to hearing what we do internally sounds like. So to hear what somebody else with a different set of ears and some different visions does with our stuff is, I mean, we're really, really pumped for that.
Hmm. Now, going forward, what's one skill that when you first started Dark Remedy, you were kind of cumbersome with, but now that you're at this point, you've learned to master it, at least become more competent in?
Um, I think for me, probably focus. And it's easy to get caught up in the, going from being a local band to, some would call us a national band, or for me, I'm just like, whatever we are now. you know um it's a big jump. And it's a different, when you're in a local band, there's like the local scene and everybody knows everybody. Well, that still exists as you go up. If this was like a ladder and we're climbing rungs, each step has its own scene, and it's easy to get wrapped up in that, and it's easy to see what everybody else is doing and be like, oh damn it, why didn't I do that? Or you know what I mean? So for me, it's just like that laser beam focus on what we are doing, specifically us, regardless of what anybody else is doing, and ignoring the noise.
You bring up a really good point when you mention scene upon scene upon scene upon scene. People are so used to thinking there's one level of mainstream, which is at the tippy tippy top, and then there's one like level of indie, which is like at the very bottom. But like it's sad and it sucks that those who have gotten like local kind of regional hits have been kind of plucked and like lost by the wayside. But it by the same principle, like Stephen was mentioning, like each band member plays an equal part. Each member of a scene plays an equal part too. It's all like symbiotic in some way.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And you're right. I mean, the saying, there's levels to this. There really is, and it's not just local, national, legend. There is probably 5 or 10 levels in between each one of those steps.
Yeah,
And
those mid levels that a lot of people seem to ignore.
yep.
And there's parallel levels too. Um, there are so many people in the music industry that you will never hear of that are making a living doing this. There's video game composers. There's people who play in orchestras. You name it. There's a million different ways you can make a living in music if you set your mind to it and are driven. And so it's not just, I'm an artist, I get signed, I make it or don't make it or whatever. I mean, with the internet and with all the other stuff going on, there's a way to do it if you're creative enough. I really believe that.
Awesome, man. How did both of you feel at this point of your careers? And I guess what's next for Dark Remedy?
I I mean, for me, and I know Steven feels the same. I mean, we're just blown away. And like, I think when we first came on with you, we told you like we're just the two kids that were in the crowd and fans of this, and we still are. That hasn't changed. I don't see it ever changing, and it's all just amazing to us. that 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 many people like what you're doing. I mean, it's the greatest feeling ever. 14 months ago, nobody knew who we were, and we still, we're nothing, in the grand scheme of things. We're working towards it, but we're a heck of a lot further now, and everything looks a lot different than it did 14 months ago. So, we're deliberate about what we do. We're very intentional, and we kind of know the things that we need to go and do moving forward. One of the big ones is we've got to bring the show live to the people. That's something that I know we're all itching to do. And at the same time, we're trying to conquer a different mountain with the radio stuff. We're going after Octane. We want a seat at that Octane table. You know, we got to have it. So that's part of the reason we brought in somebody else's. You know, we're coming guns blazing. So I can tell you that we know what the next few releases are going to be, and they're going to blow you away. We've got some big stuff in the works. We're going to be going out and shooting some video here over the next month or so as well. So we have a lot on our plates, and future looks bright.
That's awesome, you guys. And lastly, anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Yeah, but 100%. We wouldn't be able to do any of this without you, and we say it all the time, but we really mean it. We love each and every single one of you. We don't care who you are. If you just heard us for the first time, if you've been listening to us since the beginning, you are just as important as anybody else and a part of this story. And for that, we will forever be in debt to each and every one of you. And you too, Jake. I mean, guys like you that you know, take a chance on a little band like us and put us on and help spread the awareness of us. We couldn't do it without all of you.
Thanks. I appreciate the kind words, and for both of you for coming on again. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having us again. This has been fun.